G'day guys, thanks for tuning in. Today I'd just like to briefly take you through the simple steps required to fletch up your own arrows. Most shafts on the market, the far majority are available shaft only. There are a small number of exceptions with shaft choice that you can purchase factory fletched, so they're ready to go. Basically, you just got to attach your points and you're good to go. But the good majority of shafts aren't, they're only available in shaft only, so it really does pay to look into fletching your own shafts. Not only does it open up your selection of arrow choice, but it's also a lot cheaper in the long run because you do pay a premium for factory fletched shafts, and you'll also pay a small fee if you can find a retailer that will actually fletch shafts on your behalf. So you can purchase shafts and opt to have them fletched, and you'll pay for this service. So it's well worth looking into fletching your own. Few relatively inexpensive pieces of kit that you'll need to do the job. Once you've got them, if they're looked after, they're going to last forever, so it's pretty much a one-off investment and well worth the time and effort to do so. So first up, you're going to need some form of fletching jig. These are available in a number of different configurations. Some will do only straight fletch, others will do straight and helical, and you've also got ones that will only do helical. But there's a number of different options available on the market. Your standard jig, such as this one, with a vane clamp and the jig itself. You've also got the others out there that are a tower style jig, which will do all three vanes together at once. It really is personal preference. They'll all achieve the same result at the end of the day. It just comes down to what you prefer and what you find easier to use, basically. You will also need isopropyl alcohol. This is used essentially to clean your shaft pre-fletching, which is very important to achieve maximum adhesion. You want clean surfaces to work with prior to applying any glue or adhesive, so that your vanes, once they're stuck on, they're going to stay stuck on. They're not going to come off. So it's super important to clean your shafts well. So a bit of isopropyl alcohol, which I highly recommend. When it's applied, it cleans the surface very effectively, and it basically evaporates with no residue left behind. And just a basic cloth rag to do this job. You'll also need your vanes, obviously, your shafts and your vanes. So there's a number of different options out there with regard to vanes. Different lengths, different heights, different shape profiles, different manufacturers, different colours, a myriad of options. Again, it really is personal preference. Some vanes will travel noisier than others when they cut through the air, so if you're fletching for hunting, it's important to select a good vane that has minimal noise through the air to guarantee better success. You'll also need adhesive. I've been using standard good quality super glue for some time. Just standard super glue from the supermarket, hardware store. There's a multitude of brands out there. Just get a good quality super glue. There are other adhesives out there that are marketed specifically for fletching. These are an option that are available to you as well. They're obviously formulated for the purpose and work very well also. But super glue is all I've essentially used over the years, and I've never had reason to entertain any other adhesives. So step one is cleaning down the shaft. Give the shaft a good clean to make sure that it's completely clean and ready to receive your adhesive and your vane. This will ensure maximum adhesion over time. So isopropyl alcohol, just spray a small amount onto a rag. Take your shaft where the vanes are going to be adhered to, and just give the shaft a good thorough clean down. And just let that alcohol evaporate off before you start gluing up. one thing that I used to do in the beginning was clean the back of the vane that adheres to the shaft. I've since learned over time that this isn't necessary. Most manufacturers of vanes will actually prime the back of a vane to essentially prepare it for gluing. So yeah, it's pre-primed. If you actually clean the back of the vane, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. So there's no need to clean your vanes, just thoroughly clean your shaft prior to gluing up. So for the purpose of today's demonstration, we're using a standard jig with a vane clamp. The tower jigs work a little bit differently in that your shaft will normally insert upright into the jig and then the vanes come up onto the shaft. With your standard configuration jig, the shaft's actually inserted into the receiver, and there's a notch there for your knock, and it's adjustable too, so it'll basically accommodate any shaft out there on the market. And you have your receiver at the end here to hold the shaft well in place. Most jigs will feature anchor points that you can permanently drill, screw down your jig in a workshop if you've got the setup. Today, jig's loose, I've just got it clamped to a bench with a trigger clamp. And with your standard style jig, when the shaft's inserted into the receiver, this is actually designed to rest at 3 distinct stopping points. And you can hear it click there. Basically that's where you would apply the vane, and then once you've glued up, click to the next, apply the next vane, and then twist again to the final position for your third vane. So with your shaft all cleaned down, you're ready to glue up. So you basically take your clamp. Now the choice is up to you, it just depends on your setup and what type of arrow flight and application you're aiming for. But with jigs of this nature, you can adjust the offset, so the vanes can be adhered straight, or you can apply degrees of helical. In this instance, it's just a couple of small screws that you take out just to adjust the angle of the jig, and there's incremental measures in degree. So you can basically 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree helical, where the vane will be slightly offset and promote spin in flight and a very stable, accurate flight. So cleaned up, shaft is in the jig, we've got our vanes, so let's get started sticking some on. So the vane's just placed into the clamp like so, and there's also markings on your clamp in terms of how far back you want the fletch to be on the shaft. Again, this is a personal preference, but it's just a matter of seating the vane into your clamp, taking your adhesive and just applying a small bead of glue from the start of the vane all the way through to the back of the vane, just with gentle pressure, so you're not applying too much glue, otherwise you'll wind up with glue going everywhere and essentially get yourself into a bit of a mess. The back of the clamp has a magnetic metal plate which engages with a magnet on the jig. So you essentially just place the clamp on, it magnetizes, and then applying some gentle downward pressure, holding the vane to the shaft and adhering. I normally count a very slow 10 to 15 seconds before I release, and generally after that stage the super glue's done its job and the vane is taken. So yeah, just gentle, constant pressure down on that clamp, adhering the vane to the shaft, and after about a 10 to 15 second count, slowly taking your pressure off and gently releasing the clamp, and then your vane is adhered. So with the first vane adhered, we now just gently rotate the jig to the next fletching position. So with the second fletching ready to go, just seat it into your clamp, and once again a small bead of super glue from one end of the fletch to the other, just being careful not to put excess glue. You don't need a lot, otherwise with the downward pressure you'll wind up with glue everywhere. So clamp on, gentle downward pressure, and again a count of 10 to 15 seconds, and once that counts up, just gently relieving the pressure, opening the clamp gently and pulling away, and we have vane number 2. So third to go, again taking the jig, rotating the shaft to the third and final fletch position. So again, just seating your vane into the clamp at the same registration mark. Small amount of glue from one end to the other. Up against the magnet. Gentle pressure down on the shaft, and again holding for 10 to 15 seconds. And once that time's elapsed, just taking the pressure gently off, gently opening the clamp and pulling away. And there you have it, a fletched arrow. So a pretty simple process really, and once you've done it a few times you'll be able to do it with your eyes closed. It really is very simple, and quite a relaxing activity, I find. There you have it, guys. It's as you can see, it's a relatively straightforward process if you've got the right tools, and you take the necessary time to prepare, clean your shafts, and just take the time to focus on what you're doing, uninterrupted, and yeah, it's an easy task, it really is. And once you get started, you've got a wealth of shafts available to you to choose from, all of which you can build yourself, and yeah, you're off and running. So thanks for tuning in, and happy shooting.